Disclaimer! The following episode contains spoilers for Avengers Endgame. Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned.
7 years ago...
Ahoy, hoy. Who is this? Look, whoever this is, I've got uni coursework to do, so I'm just gonna have to,
Mark! Hulk! Samuel L. Jackson! Amazing!
Oh, it's you, Scott. Calm down. Deep breaths. Use your words. What's going on?
It played episode of Avengers Assemble Cinema Marvel.
Oh, how was it?
Yes, it's fucking phenomenal!
Thought as much. I'll be sure to catch you myself. I'll see you tomorrow at the lecture, okay? Cool. TTFN.
Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. My name is Scott James Merridew, and this is the show where we talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and I'm joined each week by a very special different guest. I mean, who else could I have with me here today but my friend, my cohort, and someone who actually likes Marvel, Alex Mirabal. It's Mark Russell!
I like Marvel. We all like Marvel. You've been saying not to like Marvel.
Yeah, no, I know, that's why I said someone who actually likes Marvel.
Or you'd be insane to like Marvel, because you should be insane. And like Marvel at the same time. You should be insanely in love with Marvel at this point.
What?
We like Endgame.
Yeah, this movie may have scrambled our brains a tiny bit, Capers, because, it's fucking phenomenal. It's amazing. I love it. And do you know, oh my god, Mark, when I saw this movie, oh god, it was like a dream, a beautiful, lovely dream. Oh, and do you know what the best part of it was? The best part?
Sitting for it?
Sitting through it with no kids around talking the entire fucking way through, unlike the time I went to see Infinity War.
Oh, I did not know that happened to you.
Yeah, a bunch of kids would not stop yapping on when I went to see that movie. It didn't ruin the experience, but it didn't improve it, let me tell you that much. But, so I came prepared. I went and saw... So I came prepared for this one. I went to an early screening on a weekday when all the kids were in school. No kids around, all adults, all shut their lips and just watched the fucking movie. And it was glorious. Now, Capers, we've got a lot to talk about. But so I just want to get this out of the way. I know we did the disclaimer at the beginning as per usual, but I want to really emphasize this because people are making a big deal about not spoiling this movie. So here it is, Capers. This review contains full spoilers for Avengers Endgame. We are going to be talking about the whole movie and what happens to all of the characters. Okay, so if you haven't seen the movie, or if you don't want to know what happens, why are you even still listening? Go and do something else that requires no internet connection whatsoever. Because we are gonna spoil the fuck out of this movie. You have been warned, okay? Alright. So, Mark.
Okay.
Did you like it?
Yes.
Me too! It was so good! Oh, God. Now, we're going to be talking about this movie a lot, Capers, but we're not the only ones. We're going to have some little mini-reviews from the rest of our Podern family. That's right, some other podcasts are going to weigh in and give us their views on the movie. We're going to get to some of them a little bit later. First of all, we've just got to do a quick recap of Avengers Infinity War. Shit went down.
They all died.
Yeah. Thus ends the recap.
They lost.
You lose! Good day, sir!
We spent a year wallowing in misery, wondering who else was dead. At least I did anyway.
Oh, God, yeah. And
To the point where it's like watching the TV series. Okay, so Gemma's alive, Sky's dead, Coulson made it out, that sort of...
Yeah, and it's... oh, God. And then we finally come back here, and we've had like a few filler things here and there. We've had Ant-Man and Wasp, and we've had Captain Marvel, and now we're finally here. And it does... do you know, they treat this movie with the weight that it deserves. Like, the gravity. Because it's an end of an era. Like, they're calling this, like, the Infinity Saga now. It's not just like a phase thing. Like, this was a whole encapsulated thing that started over 10 years ago.
11 years ago.
Yes, that's why I said over 10 years ago. 11 years is over 10 years.
Maths, numbers, stuff. Who cares? Endgame.
Hi everyone, this is David Malofsky of A Place to Hang Your Cape, the brain behind this #Infinite Podern Family that we've brought together for a second year to review Avengers Endgame. You can find more thoughts from myself and all the crew at A Place to Hang Your Cape over at ap2hyc.com/endgame. You'll see reviews of the film, articles exploring a bit more about what happened, and our full podcast there. So I just want to make sure I got that out there. Personally, I loved Endgame. I laughed, I cried, I peed a little. I thought it was one of the best of the MCU movies. I'm actually having to really rethink my ranking of the films. And speaking of which, we are at A Place in Your Cape also running a full survey ranking all 22 MCU films. So there'll be a link to that you can find as well. So like I said, I really love the film. I think it was a great send-off to the OG Avengers. I think that, it had everything I really wanted from the film was there. Lots of fun cameos and callbacks to the previous films. My one real complaint was that there was a trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home right before, and I almost wish that this was actually the very end of the MCU, but I understand why it isn't. But at the very least, I do think this should be the last Avengers movie in the MCU, and you'll have to read my article at ap2hyc.com/endgame to find out exactly why I think this should be the last Avengers movie and how the MCU can continue. All right. #Infinite Podern Family.
Let's just get fucking started. So, it's,
God.
We start in space!
I said we start in Hawkeye's backyard.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that. We don't have to talk about the soul-crushing sadness of Clint Barton's entire family disintegrating.
Hey kids, let's crush your dreams in the opening 5 seconds.
I mean, there's no other way they could start. And it's like, we immediately start in Clint teaching his daughter how to shoot a bow and arrow, and they're having a picnic outside, and it's just like, oh, so you're gonna do us like that, Russo brothers. That's how you want to play this. You just want to... Because there's no other way to go.
Nope.
It's just... They disintegrate, and we don't even see it. Like, Clint turns around, and we just see a little bit of dust in the air. She's like, oh, what's going on? Hey, person who was on Gravity Falls / Velma. Like, what's going on? Oh, they're gone too. Guys, where are you? Where are you? And it's like, oh, no. And so then we go to space.
Poor Iron Man's having a bad day.
He is having a bad day. He is trapped on, I think it's the Milano, isn't it?
I don't know, it's Quill's spaceship.
Yeah, it's called the Milano, named, fun fact, after Melissa Milano. So, there's that. And he's trapped with Nebula on the ship. It's not really working very well. They're running out of food, they're running out of air, they're running out of fuel, and no way to really get back home. This is why you don't invest in teleportation, kids. It's just old-fashioned space travel all the way, because you don't. If it fails, then you're stranded. It's common sense. That and traveler's insurance. And so he thinks it's all done for. You think he's recording a message to Pepper on his Iron Man helmet, and it's, oh god, oh, it's so sad, oh god. And then he sees a bright light, and he really thinks, Superman? No, it's Captain Marvel,
Yay!
who we can only assume has
He doesn't really do much in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, she shows up a couple of times, but the excuse for her not being in the vast majority of the movie is, there's other shit going on other planets, which admittedly is fair enough. Like, this is happening all across the universe. But, like, you know, Carol, you were kind of born here. You did visit here, like, in the 90s and helped sort shit out. You know, maybe show a bit of appreciation for the home team, you know, especially considering the fact that it was superheroes from Earth who confronted Thanos and tried to stop him. I didn't see the Kree or the Shi'ar or the fucking Brood do anything to sort that out. So, you know, but she turns up and rescues Nebula and Tony Stark, and they return to Earth, and we see the ones we definitely know survived from the last movie. We do, and Tony's just like, is Pepper alive? And she's alive! Pepper Potts is alive, yo!
Yay!
And
didn't Tony look terrible?
he looked gaunt and emaciated. He looked, I mean, it's not just the physical impact of everything that's happened to him and everything's been through, like almost dying in space. It's also the psychological impact, seeing people he fought side by side with disintegrate, knowing that half the universe was gone, worrying that maybe his soon-to-be wife was also going to go, or had gone, and also seeing his mentee, his almost psychic Spider-Man just crumple. Oh god. Oh.
There.
Oh god. Oh, we've only just started. We're not even 5 minutes in. Oh shit. And so yeah, he is not a happy bunny, and they put him on bed rest after he basically goes off on Steve Rogers for everything that's happened. And we know that Steve Rogers isn't to blame for all this, but at the same time, like, you know, if Captain America couldn't save us, who could? Who could? And thanks to Nebula and a bunch of other stuff, they managed to pinpoint a certain signal that emitted when the Infinity Stones were used, and they find it on another planet. And they're like, oh shit, that's where Thanos is. Everyone, mount up! Let's go get some Infinity Stones and, like, Control Z this shit. Just, like, get rid of it. So they go to this planet and they find Thanos, except he's looking a bit Harvey Dentish, because he used the stones to you know, the universe out of existence, but also he used it one more time to destroy the stones themselves, an act which almost killed him, to, in his words, avoid temptation. And at this point, I mean, Iron Man is back on Earth convalescing, but Thor is, Thor's not feeling pretty good about himself. In fact, he's kind of blames himself for, you know, not aiming for the head! I mean, and they do make a joke about that in a few seconds. We'll get to that. But, yeah, he's really, really not happy, and so they all converge on Thanos. It's just like, bring the stones back. I can't. Bring the stones back. I can't. Bring the stones back. They're gone. Oh, hey, Nebula. Hey, soz about the whole abusing you your entire life. Decapitation! The Thor just lops his head off. And he's just like, yeah, I didn't fucking miss the head that time.
Yeah, and that's... I mean, there were some moments where I got a bit nitpicky at times. Like, they shouldn't have made a joke at this point.
I mean, it's dark humor, gallows humor. And they're just like, okay, so Thanos is dead, the stones are gone. What the shit do we do now? Guys? Game plan. What do we do? What do we do? Cut to 5 years later! Yeah, 5 years later. Oh shit, and we just see the effect it's having on the planet. It's a very muted thing. It's just like, there's just sort of gloom has settled over the entire planet. And, like missing posters everywhere, huge monuments to the vanished, and Steve Rogers is heading up a support group for people who are dealing 5 years later with the knowledge of losing half of everyone. And they really take their time with this, showing just how much it has impacted the people we know. Black Widow is essentially running the Avengers with various allies across the place. Captain Marvel is off in space with a cute new haircut. And yeah, it's God, everything is just sucks. It just sucks. Thor is nowhere to be found. And then who turns up but everyone's favourite ex-con, Scott Lang!
Yay!
And he escapes the quantum realm, which we last saw him disappear into at the end of Ant-Man and Wasp, and he just trundles around with a little
Cart.
little cart thing, just trying to find anyone that he knows, and he finds his daughter, who's grown up, and they hug for what feels like 10 minutes, and it should have been an hour. Oh, just hugging each other, and he spent like all the minutes before that going around this monument, desperately searching for his daughter's name and his family's name. We can only assume that his ex-wife and her new husband and all his friends are gone because we don't see them in the movie.
Not Lewis.
Would have been nice to see Michael Pena in this movie, but you know, there's so many other characters in this, so I don't know. But,
Not Lewis.
Oh God. But
Not the Baba Yaga guy.
oh no, and then he finds his daughter, and it's oh God, it's so cool. It's a shame that his daughter didn't like go on this adventure with him. I guess she stayed at home or something, but he realized
Has she been living on her own for the past 5 years?
We can only assume. I would have loved to see like either a scene or possibly even like a short film detailing like the adventures of Cassie Lang having to presumably, like many children in Infinity War, grow up without any parents.
Yeah, because that opened two questions in my mind. Why? I felt like there wasn't enough time for the characters to really focus on mourning, if you get what I mean. There's not enough time to focus on that. I know there's a lot going on in this movie, but I felt like apart from Iron Man, we don't really see any of the other characters have time to grieve. I know it's been 5 years, but you get what I mean.
Because, I mean, we've already mourned these characters ourselves for a year, so we've had time as an audience to process those feelings. B, to give it enough time, I feel. Could they have given it a bit more? Yes, but that would be slightly wallowing and slightly, you know, I don't know, manipulative
wallowing helps.
maybe.
I like wallowing.
True, it is nice to have a wallow every now and then. But, yeah, so he makes his way to the Scott makes his way to the Avengers compound, and it's just like, hey guys, remember me? Berlin, you arrested me and put me in house arrest all that time? Wait, we thought you were dead. I wasn't, I was in the quantum realm. You've been gone for 5 years, how did you survive? 5 years? For me, it was like 5 hours. Holy shit. And this leaves Scott to have a plan. Once he's been brought up to speed by Cassie and presumably the rest of everyone, he comes up with a plan that involves a time heist.
Yay!
Why is this movie not called Avengers Time Heist?
Maybe Time Heist didn't sound cool enough. Either Time Heist is pretty cool.
I don't know. I swear there's been an episode of Doctor Who called Time Heist, but anyway.
Yeah, that was in Peter Capaldi's era.
Yes, it was not a very good episode, but who cares?
I guess Doctor Strange saying we're in the Time Heist now didn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah. And so it basically comes with this plan to use the quantum realm, wibbly-dibbly, timey-wimey shit, to time travel and go back to time to get the stones back and fix all of this shit.
Hey, we're the Deleted Scene Podcast. I'm Christian.
I'm Kaylee.
Oh, I'm Matt.
And I'm Mel. Woo!
And we're here with the...
We're in the endgame now.
We're in the endgame now.
Good lord.
With our mini review for our collaborative effort with the Infinite Podern Family for our endgame, and we loved it. Or we really liked it, at least.
It's in no spoilers, isn't it?
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Mini review.
No, loads of spoilers.
If
Say
I had
all
to-
of the spoilers. Oh my god, I can't believe that, and everything else is bleeped out.
If I had to give it a number, I would say I loved it 3,000.
Here we go again.
Out of what?
Oh god. Not you.
The end.
It's
yeah,
great.
no,
It's as much as the first Infinity War was about action. This one's about character, and so yes, that's why I prefer this one.
That's a good summing up of it, and I preferred this to Infinity War as well.
And I love both.
Killer's both. Killing it's the best of both worlds.
Exactly. I'm just Marvel fanatic number one.
Yeah. What about you, Mel?
I spent the whole of this film going, yes!
And then
So
crying.
that's it. And
Yeah.
then weeping
It's
quietly.
a feel-good film.
It's amazing.
So yeah, no, it's a fantastic culmination and celebration of the Marvel Universe, and if
Yeah.
you're into the Marvel Universe, as us nerds are, you will not be disappointed. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It is the
it really
perfect
signs
ending.
off all these characters
Yeah.
and everything, and we look forward to futures new.
Please find us.
Yeah,
and
find
if
us,
you wanna-
the
Well,
Deleted
our
Scene
review of
podcast.
this is going to be out soon.
Our full spoiler review.
Just search for the Deleted Scene podcast on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on
But yeah, the Deleted Scene podcast on wherever the hell we are.
yes.
Whatever the hell you're listening to podcasts on.
You'll find us.
And much love to all the other podcasts on this network.
Yeah.
And thank you to David for organising this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
But they realise, okay, like, great, but we're not going to be able to really, sort the shit out ourselves. We need a smarty pants, and Reed Richards is nowhere to be found. Let's try
Yet.
Tony Stark. Yet. Oh. And so let's go find Tony Stark. What's Tony been up to all this time? He's been living in a country house with Pepper Potts. They're married, and they have a daughter, Morgan. Oh! Yeah, it's oh god, and it's just like, nothing bad happened to that precious little angel. Oh,
Yay.
and so they turn up and they basically say, "Hey, Tony, do you want to help us sort all this shit out?" And he's like, "No, what you're talking about is crazy. There's no way it would work. And even if it did, like, you know what? I've got a fucking life now. This is probably the happiest I've ever been in all of these movies." So like we know eventually he's going to relent and do it, but it's a good chance for us to. We get a lot of focus on Tony Stark and seeing how he's grown over these years, over the past 10 years, and seeing the lengths he's gone to. Like in the first one, he was a selfish, greedy, womanizing, borderline alcoholic, and now he's a family man, one of the greatest heroes of the world, and it's so great to see this character grow and develop after all these years.
How far he has come.
Indeed. And so later
And-
that night, after they've left, he's reflecting a bit on everything that's happened to him over this time. He's washing some dishes, and he sees a picture of him and Peter Parker. And the amount of times this movie almost made me cry. I'm not actually going to cry because I'm British and we can't do that. It's illegal. But I came close. Like a misdemeanor, misty-eyed. Oh, God. And he basically says, "Oh, fuck it, I'm in." And they do it in the best way possible. They show him just hypothetically working it out with Friday, like, could it be done? And once he realizes it could be done, he's just like, well, shit, I've got to do it.
I like his expression when he realizes he basically invented time travel. He's like, I invented time travel.
Yep. And meanwhile, the rest of the Avengers are trying to find out the second smartest person in the Marvel Universe right now. And that has been, finger snapped out of existence. And that's Bruce Banner, who has merged his consciousness with the Hulk's body, sort of like halfway between Bruce Banner and the Hulk. And I'm 100% in favour of this because that actually happened several times in the comics. There have been numerous times where Bruce Banner has had the body of the Hulk, but the intelligence of Bruce Banner. A notable example of this was during the Secret Wars crossover event. And so I think maybe that's a homage to that, maybe not. But it's really cool. The CG on him is acceptable.
It's alright, I think.
It's acceptable for this movie. Could have been better, yeah. It's not like Thanos level, but it's good enough, I guess. It's good enough. The problem is, like, it's too Mark Ruffalo. With Thanos, like, you could take a second and realize, wait a minute, that's not Josh Brolin, But with this, it's clearly Mark Ruffalo, just Hulkified, so it was like a Snapchat filter almost. But it's still good,
Yeah,
and it's really cool to see him this way.
I think I would have liked if he maybe teetered a little bit towards Hulk. If he ever got angry, so he started speaking in Hulk every now and again, but it was just Banner all the time.
Yeah, showing that was in fact a bit of an effort to maintain that form, but no, maybe we'll get that in a future movie, maybe a solo Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie that introduces She-Hulk. Do it! Fucking do it already! I want She-Hulk! I want her now!
Give the rights back, Universal. Why do you need them?
Yes.
Just let Disney buy you out.
Oh god, don't even get me started. Right, and so, but then, Stark comes back and is just like, okay, I'm in, let's sort the shit out. But they need to recruit as many people as they can, except they don't recruit all the people they could, let's be honest. There are some people they could call up or approach that would have been so cool to see, but they don't. Instead, they mainly get, just a few people here and there, and Clint Barton, who has now gone full Ronin, and is now basically saying, hey, you know what? All you criminal scum have been killing people. So many innocent people died, and you didn't after Thanos went snappity snap. So, I'm gonna fucking, kill Bill your ass right now. And it's interesting, especially within his relationship with Black Widow and himself, which I always found their relationship much more interesting than the potential Black Widow Bruce Banner relationship. Not in a romantic way, just their friendship and the way they play off each other. It's very cool, and that gets a lot more focus now. And it's really cool, because usually she's the one who's a bit ruthless, and she's the one who's got all the red in her ledger. But now, he's fallen to the dark side a bit, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Hulk and Rocket have gone to Norway, or to New Asgard, because it turns out Infinity War fucking lied to us, and not all of the Asgardians are dead, including Valkyrie!
Yay!
So she's fine, Korg is fine, Meek is fine, and I'm happy. I'm so happy.
Can I get a triple hurrah?
Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah!
Yay!
But sadly, however, one person isn't okay. Thor. Oh, has he, succumbed to alcoholism and he's all dark and moody and brooding? Yes and no. He's he succumbed to alcoholism, yes, but he's still kind of cheerful. Some might even say jolly. He's put on a bit of weight.
Yeah.
He put quite a bit of weight because Chris Hemsworth is committed to the whole make Thor funny thing, which does work in fairness. And oh god, you know what's interesting about this? I was waiting the whole movie for when are they gonna make Thor buff again? He's gonna drink a magic potion, or he's gonna work out for 5 minutes, or he's gonna summon his hammer, and that'll make him buff again. No, he's fat the entire movie.
Oh great, God of guts, God of the beer belly.
Yeah, and he rocks that beer belly. But it's also kind of it's a little bit funny, but it's also kind of sad because he shows that he's still really hung up on the whole missing their head thing, and I mean he's not responsible for everything, but better aim, Thor, come on. And yeah, and he's just I don't want to get involved, but Hulk and Rocket managed to convince him to sort this shit out, and they basically have a bit of a groupthink and said, okay, so we need to get the stones. Wait a minute, do you realize at some point all 3 of the Infinity Stones were in New York at one point? So they're going to 3 teams. One team's going to go to New York, one team's going to go to the planet Morag, where Peter Quill first picked up the Power Stone, I think it was?
Yes.
And one team's also going to go to this other planet that has the Soul Stone.
Yes.
And one team is going to go to Asgard to pick up the Ether.
Yes. Do I need to give you a spreadsheet of where all the Infinity Stones are?
Look, they kind of worked out the spreadsheet for us, in fairness. They worked this shit out.
Hey guys, we're the Electric Shadows podcast. I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And yeah, just to talk very quickly about Avengers Endgame. I think it's a sign of the film's huge success that I actually never want to see another Marvel movie. I just think it wraps up everything so neatly. It's so sprawling and epic, and yet manages to provide the payoffs to so many character arcs and callbacks to 22 films over 10 years. And there are scenes in there that feel like the definitive version of anything I'd want to see from a Marvel film. That I'm just kind of like, well, okay, obviously it needs to go on, but kind of why? If they were to say, unfortunately we lost the footage to Spider-Man Far From Home and we need to take some time and retool, I'd be perfectly fine with not seeing another one of these. I think it's dazzlingly ambitious, and apart from one, I think, fairly major misstep, don't really have that much negative to say about it.
And we're not going to talk about the misstep, of course, but if you listen to the Electric Shadows podcast on the Avengers episode, you will hear us talk about it in the spoiler section. I like to wind Rob up by saying that Ant-Man and the Wasp is a better film than Infinity War, which I think is true. But I think that Endgame is a better film than Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it is genuinely, I think, a really good movie. There's a lot of things in here that I think were perfect in the way they were done. I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with Rob on this. If this was the end film in an 11-year franchise, I'd say, yeah, well done. You stuck the landing. It was really great. And all I want to do now is watch it again and then again, and that would be good. So
luckily we're getting the chance to do that on Monday. So yeah, guys, if you kind of enjoyed our very little bit here, tune into the Electric Shadows podcast where we discuss such things as what we think might be a fairly major plot hole in Endgame, not to spoil it here, and why we think it and Infinity War, they got the names the wrong way round.
Yes, that's actually a very good point that Rob makes. So please listen to that. Thank you for listening to us here, and
back to you guys at a place to hang your cape
and go and see Endgame.
Right, so continuing on with the story, they split up into several teams. Now, the plan is to get the Infinity Stones, bring them back to the present, and use them to undo the snap. And it's implied. Here's the thing: it's time travel, so it goes a bit wibbly. There's stuff with potentially alternate dimensions, but they're also going to what they plan to do is they're not going to change the first snap. They're not going to go back and stop Thanos from ever snapping. What they're going to do is they're going to bring the stones back to their present 5 years plus, and just do another snap to bring everyone back. That's the plan. You with us so far? Okay. And there's potential for alternate realities or splinters shooting off timelines. They're going to possibly put all the stones back once they're done with them to preserve the timeline. It's a whole thing, but in the words of Logan from Logan's Run, I suggest you don't worry about that sort of thing and just enjoy yourselves. So, in Infinity War, we split off into several teams and it followed different storylines rather than just jumping from one to the other. We're going to do the same here. So let's follow Team A going to New York City in the year 2012. So what they're going to do in New York, they're going to get, it's the Mind Stone, the Time Stone, and the Space Stone is what they're going to get.
Well done.
God, I wasn't sure I was going to get that.
There's only 6.
Still, they got different names, different colours. It's difficult to remember. But, and so, Bruce Banner, as the Hulk, goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum to get the Time Stone from the Ancient One.
Yay!
Yay! And, there's so many different characters that just pop up. We can't go yay for them all.
Okay.
We're going to break the yayometer. And so, and he has to convince her to give the Time Stone, and she explains, if you take the Time Stone, then that's going to cause some problems for our reality. And he's like, well, we'll just bring them back. And she's like, I'm not sure about that. And then he says, Stephen Strange, gave the Time Stone to Thanos, so he must have known what he was doing. She was like, really? Well, okay, it's not like Stephen Strange has never made any mistake before, Notoriously reliable is Stephen Strange, but, okay, fine. And she gives the Time Stone. 1 stone down. Meanwhile, they are shadowing the Avengers, past Avengers, that is, as they arrest Loki, and we finally understand why Loki got the gag on at the end of Avengers because he was doing impressions of Steve Rogers and they wanted him to shut up. And so they're shadowing, and S.H.I.E.L.D. takes possession of the Tesseract. Is that the Space Stone? No, it's the Space Stone.
Yeah.
And only it's not S.H.I.E.L.D., it's in fact Hydra agents, including Crossbones and Jasper Sitwell. Gasp. Oh god. And so Steve Rogers managed to get the stone from them by pretending to be a Hydra agent. And if you've read a couple of Captain America comics in the last couple of years, that is especially ironic.
Grr.
Yeah. And he walks away only to be discovered by his past self.
And he thinks he's Loki.
Oh god! And he manages to subdue his past self by saying, Bucky is alive! And it shocks him enough for him to get away. And it's a whole thing, and it's hilarious. No. It's Steve Rogers gets the Mind Stone from the Hydra agents, and
yes.
Sorry, damn it! I was doing so well, and Ant-Man and Iron Man trying to get the Space Stone from a returning Robert Redford.
I am glad he is here because this is technically his last movie because he retired, didn't he?
He did, yes. I was surprised to see him in this.
Yeah, even though he's the bad guy, but yay, Robert Redford.
I feel kind of bad that the old man with the gun isn't his last movie anymore, but still, considering it's only a cameo, I'm not sure it counts. And they try and get it, but they bugger it up after an enraged past Hulk, who had to take the stairs because he didn't fit in the lift, barges into them, which causes Loki to quickly grab the Tesseract and zap away, presumably to his own television show.
Yes, hopefully. That's probably how they set it up.
I mean, fingers crossed. That's so cool.
Although the downside is his character development hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but they'll give a chance for him to have new character development. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And yet he's still trapped on Asgard later in the movie. Oh god, time travel! Fuck. Moving on.
Again. I think. So I think the whole him being on Asgard and then this thing teleporting with the Tesseract is different timelines. That's how I could best describe it.
I think you're probably right. We're missing one Infinity Stone, but it's okay because we've got one last sub. What's the word I'm looking for?
Pin particle.
Now I know what it's called. One last vial. Yeah, vial. One last vial of pin particles, which is the thing that,
vial.
Which is what they're using to time travel in the first place, because it's all based on quantum realm Ant-Man technology. And so they travel to a S.H.I.E.L.D. base in the 1970s to steal an earlier version of the Tesseract because it's been kept there, I guess. Yes.
Yeah, they had a Marvel get a hands on it then.
I can't remember. I think it was another... No, the Skrulls had it. No. I think the... S.H.I.E.L.D.'s got it! Who cares? S.H.I.E.L.D. had them, that's what...
S.H.I.E.L.D.'s got it, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s got it.
S.H.I.E.L.D.'s got it, and so they infiltrate the headquarters. They bump into yet another Community cameo. I'm okay with that. Yvette Nicole Brown, awesome. And there's still an early version of Space Stone and more Pym particles from cameo number 23, young Hank Pym.
Did you notice that the original Ant-Man comic book helmet was there?
It's hard to miss. It was staring us right in the face. It's not like in the background. It's in the foreground. But yeah, that was really cool. And that whole thing was cool. And they managed to steal some Pym particles as well. But then they meet two people from their past. Tony Stark meets his dead dad. And they have a long conversation about the fact that Howard Stark is expecting a kid, Tony. And Tony has had a kid, Morgan. And it's... Oh, God, it's... Oh, feels. Meanwhile, Steve Rogers accidentally bumbles into Sharon Carter's... Wait, no, it's Maggie... Peggy Carter's. I mistook her for her, like, sort of grand niece, whatever. Peggy Carter's office is just like, oh, Peggy, my treasure, my darling. Ah. And it's, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. And, yeah. And so, and he sees her briefly, but she doesn't see him. It's just like, oh, what if?
Welcome, true believers. We are the Mighty Marvel Mix podcast. I am Paul Shearman, and he is Alex AJ Jones. Alex, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Good. Right, AJ, we're going to do a totally spoiler-free review for Avengers Endgame as part of the Infinite Podern Family broadcast. So, tell me about Avengers Endgame.
So it was incredible. Absolutely loved it. It was full of action. The emotional sort of weight behind it was incredible, and the direction that the Marvel Universe is going in now is so exciting, and I can't wait to see where they go with it.
I agree, and I've got to say, in terms of what we were promised payoff to the culmination of 11 years and 22 movies for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we got that without any shadow of a doubt. It's
100%.
It's exceptional, and if you are a movie fan, and if you are a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, and if you are a comic book fan, I've got to say, this is just perfect. Would you not agree?
It's marvelous. It literally is marvelous.
It is marvelous. You're right.
Throw it in there. Yeah, there's no. I couldn't put a fault. I couldn't put a fault to it. It is the perfect way to create a film. It's amazing.
Perfect summary. So that is our spoiler-free review as part of the Infinite Podern Family. We will be going all in on a spoiler review in our upcoming episode. You can find us with a Mighty Marvel Mix. You can find us on all the places you get your podcasts. If you go to Facebook and Instagram, we are the Mighty Marvel Mix there. And you can find us on Twitter at Marvel Mix. AJ, as always, it's been a pleasure.
As always.
Thanks very much, everyone else. If you haven't seen Endgame yet, go and see it. You'll love it. If you have seen it, hope you enjoyed our little snapshot, and we hope to see you on the Mighty Marvel Mix podcast. Thanks very much.
And so they've got the Mind Stone, and they've got the Space Stone, and got the Time Stone. Team A's job is done.
Although, speaking of crazy cameos, Edwin Jarvis from Agent Carter is in this movie.
Yes, they got James Darcy back.
The first TV show character to cross over into the movies.
Oh God! Yeah, it's so good to see him, and it's just like, it's so nice because like this is a legacy character because he was Jarvis, then Jarvis was a program, then Jarvis was Vision,
and Vision was dead.
And Vision was dead, and then he was Wonder Man, and then he wasn't. I don't know.
Okay.
That's from the comics. The whole thing. No. Vision was based off of Wonder Man's brain patterns. Who cares? Anyway, and
okay, right, sure, fine.
Yeah, sure. And meanwhile, Team B. Team B is Rocket, Raccoon, and Thor traveling to Asgard during the events of Thor: The Dark World. They have a little fun at the expense of the Dark Elves. That was funny. To retrieve the Reality Stone, the Ether, from inside of Jane Foster, who I can't tell if they got Natalie Portman back or it was just archival footage, but either way, it's seamlessly integrated.
It's archival footage, they confirmed that.
Yeah, okay. But it's still cool. They must have... I don't know. And so, Rocket says, okay, we gotta extract the Reality Stone from her using this gadget, this wicked-looking gadget. Meanwhile, Thor sees his mum, who is definitely not archival footage. It's Renee Russo. She's back. Awesome. Oh, God. And it's like more feels. All of the feels. Everywhere the feels.
The casting director must have been in tears.
And they have a chat, despite the fact that, breaking the laws of time, but whoever. And she's like, she's so awesome. She's so awesome. And they have a lovely heart-to-heart about everything that he's been through and everything. And he gets back his old hammer, Mjolnir. He's back.
Hey.
Meow is back. And it's so cool. Meanwhile, Rocket managed to extract the ether and is running away from Asgardian guards, basically. And it's a whole thing. And it's a cool character moment for Thor. Meanwhile, we said 3 teams earlier. Really, it's 4. 2 teams go off into space together. That's Hawkeye and Black Widow and War Machine and Nebula. And so, oh god, so Hawkeye and Black Widow go to Vormir to find the Soul Stone, guarded once again by Red Skull. Shit. And they learn what we learned in the last movie, it can only be acquired by sacrificing someone they love. And then it goes into a whole, I'll sacrifice myself, no, I'll sacrifice yourself. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be funny if Black Widow was like, I'll sacrifice myself, and Clint goes, yeah, you should. Just because, like, she's like, what? I thought we were going to do, like, a whole back and forth. Like, no, I'm going to sacrifice myself. And he's like, no, I'm going to have a family when this is hopefully over. Like, you've got nothing.
Sorry, Natasha.
Sorry, Tasha, but, like, But, he's really down on himself for the whole Ronin thing. And so they fight to sacrifice each other. And it's, again, with the feels, it's so heartbreaking. They're dangling off a cliff, just trying to sacrifice themselves / save each other. It'd be funny if it wasn't so heartbreaking, and eventually Black Widow just sacrifices herself. And you know what? I've never been really on Jeremy Renner as an actor. I've never really gelled him. I don't think he's a bad actor. I've never really gravitated towards him. But his reaction when Black Widow dies, it got me deep inside. I'm not even going to tell you what he went through, Gabe, but just go and watch the fucking movie if you haven't already. And so, Black Widow is dead. And because she sacrificed herself for the Soul Stone, there is no bringing her back.
I don't get it.
Like, because she sacrificed herself, she's immune to the snap, so they can never bring her back, even if they use the Infinity Stones.
I gotta go cry in a corner now.
Yeah, fair enough. Having said they can't bring her back, turns out someone they can bring back is everyone's favourite assassin, Gamora. Because you see...
Okay.
Because on Morag, Nebula and James Rhodes steal the Power Stone before Peter Quill can, and they do what we all saw coming, but was still funny. They just have Chris Pratt in the distance singing "Come and Get Your Love" under his breath whilst they can't hear the music, and it's so funny.
Get your love. It does mean that because they knocked him out, it occurred to me that in this possible timeline, because they knock Peter out and steal the Power Stone, the Guardians of the Galaxy may not form.
Possibly, yes. But that means Ronan won't get the Power Stone either, which means there's no reason for them to form. You know what? That's another reality's problem. It's not our problem. And so, those problems are over there. But because there are now two nebulas in the same place, the other nebula picks up, like, recordings of the other nebula's memories on, like, their shared Wi-Fi or something, I don't know.
Okay.
And this alerts Thanos and Gamora to the shenanigans that the teams are up to. Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
And so, yeah, causes some complications. War Machine manages to return to the present with the Power Stone, but Nebula gets left behind because of her cyber implants start screwing up. And so they capture future Nebula, and they learn everything about her, and they send past Nebula to the present to sabotage the whole thing, because past Nebula is still a bad person. And so, yeah, that's all the Infinity Stones. Are we up to date? Yeah, I think that's all of them. They got the Soul Stone, they got the Power Stone, they got the time and the mind and the heart and the sending prompt thank you cards around Christmas time.
And the free bonus card and the lottery card.
The get out of jail free card.
What was in cards? Gems. The Chaos Emeralds and the Power Emeralds and the Power Stones and the Power Rings.
And the Ark of the Covenant and Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. The plans
and Scott's lifetime supply of chocolate, which I just stole.
Wait, what? No. No! It's not Terry's, it's mine! It's my chocolate orange! Anyway. Back in the present, everyone's back except for future Nebula. And, instead, it's past Nebula. And they arrange the Infinity Stones on a brand new Iron Man gauntlet. And they realise, okay, it nearly killed Thanos when he first used them. So we need someone who's really, 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 really strong. And so Hulk naturally volunteers. And he puts it on and it nearly kills him. It fries his arm. And he snaps his fingers. And Ant-Man hears birdsong outside the window. Ooh. And Clint sees a message, like his phone ringing, from his wife. And Ant-Man's like, guys, it worked. Kaboom! Because then, and I was so scared. I was so scared Ant-Man was dead. You've no idea how happy it made me when it turned out he survived. But anyway, I was so scared. It turns out that Nebula used the quantum teleportation TARDIS Matrix MacGuffin thing to bring Thanos and all like his entire fleet to the present day. And he's just like, okay, so Gamora and Nebula, go and get my stones for me. What are you gonna do, Dad? I'm going to sit here.
Read the Titan Time.
Yeah, so... wait to delegate, Thanos, wait to delegate. And lots of people are severely injured, and it's a whole thing. And Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America confront Thanos. Meanwhile, Hawkeye is running through the sewers, escaping Chitauri, trying to escape with the brand new Infinity Gauntlet so that Thanos doesn't get his hands back all of him. And Thanos reveals, okay, so plan A was kill half the universe and hope that sorts the universe out, but that didn't really work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to erase this universe and start a brand new one that aren't going to remember the previous one. And it's all going to be great, and it's going to have blackjack and hookers. And that's when we realise, oh shit, Thanos wasn't right. Like, so there's some people that are saying, Thanos is right. Population, resources, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. Maybe, like, the philosophy, the concepts behind what he did were, you know, worth discussing, possibly. Yeah. But here's the thing. Thanos clearly has a god complex. Clearly. He's talking about creating an entire new universe. He is not someone you want to listen to, clearly. And they're fighting him, and Thor has got both Stormbringer / Breaker, whatever it's called, and Mjolnir. It's awesome. And they're fighting, and oh god, it looks like Thanos has got the upper hand, and he shatters Captain America's shield. Oh god. But then, what does he pick up? He picks up Mjolnir, because he is worthy!
Yes! And the entire audience went mad.
The entire audience went mad. Thor says, I knew it! And it's amazing. And Thanos is still, despite that, is still winning. And he summons his whole army to lay siege to the Earth. It's, oh god, it's like everyone, every fucking one of his army, including his Black Order, whatever you want to call them. Like Squidward is there. Like everyone's there.
Yay! We all like Squidward.
Proxima Midnight, which is a stupid name, but anyway. And so, meanwhile, past Nebula and future Nebula are having it out, and past Gamora is there, and future Nebula is like saying, hey, don't listen to Thanos, like, because, you know, we end up becoming, like, properly sisters in the future, and, like, it's awesome, and it's feel good, and, you know, let's work this shit out. But past Nebula's like, no, you can't do that. I'm evil and I always shall be. Okay, blam, dead. And Nebula doesn't fade out of existence because of wibbly wobbly timey wimey. Exactly. And so the armies of Thanos are approaching. All seems to be lost. Who turns up but Dr. Motherfucking Stephen to the Strange? And he's like, hey guys, I'm back, and I brought a few friends. He brings back with him all of his sorcerers, including Wong, all the restored Avengers who died in the snap, all the Guardians of the Galaxy, the armies of Asgard, Wakanda, and the Ravagers.
Hey, and Howard the Duck.
And Howard the Duck. and Daredevil, and Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, and all of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, in our delusions, yes.
And Thomas the Tank Engine, and Tony Blair, and Indiana Jones, and Captain Jack Harkness, and Alec Guinness, and Braveheart, and
Mr. Blobby,
and George Takei, and everyone.
And Bob the Builder.
Oh, and Darth Vader, it's everyone!
Yay!
But no, it's not everyone we could have hoped for. I remember on this show I made a wish that there was a final battle with everyone from the MCU, but sadly it's not to be. We don't see Daredevil, we don't see Jessica Jones or anything like that. But you know what, for what we got, it's good enough. Spider-Man swings back in, and he explains to Mr. Tony Stark, like, hey, Mr. Stark, whoa, geez, I went all dusty there for a second. And Tony Stark hugs him. Despite the fact that in Homecoming he said he wasn't really a hugging guy. He says he hugs them. And oh god, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's absolutely fucking perfect. And you know what? This movie holds a giant middle finger up to the ending fight from Phantom Menace, Lord of the Rings, and everything. It's awesome because it took us so long to get here.
It's been a long road.
Yep, and everyone's fighting, and they're trying to get the Infinity Gauntlet away from Thanos. And Hawkeye passes it off to Black Panther. Black Panther passes it off to Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Ant-Man and Wasp. Wasp is back.
Oh, hi, Wasp. Have you been? I died. Long story. Who are these weird people? You'll get used to them.
Yeah, it's difficult enough to understand it, whether or not people are aware of exactly what's happened, but, and so, they're trying to get back to the quantum accelerator to somehow, sort this shit out by sending, I think it's to send all the Infinity Stones back or something, or, I don't know, like, Endgame's in sight, we're inside of the finish line, let's just keep going. And so everyone's fighting, everyone's sorting shit out, and everyone's getting, like, cute little asides with everyone. And it's fucking awesome. And Tony Stark is like, hey, Stephen Strange, is this, like, the one where we win? And Stephen Strange is like, if I tell you, then it won't happen. Oh, shit! No, God. Do you know what? It's such a cool fight scene with everyone. But it's also, they take time for character development and one or two little lines here and there. It exemplifies everything that is great about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It really does.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
What's up, all you British people? This is Rob. And we're going to review, what is this, Endgame?
Avengers Endgame, Rugs.
Yeah, let's do it really quick. All right, you start off, Imran. What did you like? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
Spoiler-free thoughts. This movie, in a nutshell, blew me away. It has everything I wanted and stuff I didn't even know I wanted. If you have been watching these movies since the beginning, it rewards you. This movie is for the hardcore fan, and it's an amazing capper to this 22 movie Infinity Saga. Love it. 9.5 out of 10. Highly recommend. Anthony.
I echo all your thoughts. This is one of the most amazing films if you're a hardcore MCU fan. It has all the big moments you could want, but is complemented by all the small moments, all the jokes, all the callbacks. Fantastic movie. You have to check it out.
This, for me, is like getting that nice ice cream sundae, the 2 scoops, and the whipped cream, and the cherries, and the fudge, just for being a good boy. And, I've been a good boy for the past 10 years. I've been going to all the Marvel movies. I've been seeing them all. I've been remembering them and watching them, and now I get to enjoy this nice dessert. And that's what it is. It's dessert. It's for you to enjoy and get a sugar rush from, and to fucking shit your pants later with diarrhea for having lactose
It is
intolerance.
fan service in the very best possible way, and so satisfying ending.
You're a loser if you haven't seen it already.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So check it out. Jock and Nerd. And listen to the Jock and Nerd podcast at jockandnerd.com and every podcast app now, including Pandora. Thanks, guys.
Enjoy your dessert.
Pepper Potts becomes rescue.
Pepper Potts is there in her own Iron Man suit. And who turns up Johnny Come Lately? It's only Captain Marvel completely obliterating Thanos' ship.
Where have you been?
in space because, you know, if they can't, because she's so OP, if they keep her around, like, she could wipe the entire floor with everyone. And it's so cool. And Valkyrie's there on a winged Pegasus and everything.
What was that? Where was she keeping the horse?
I don't know.
Where did she get the horse?
I'm just glad she borrowed it from Hercules. Who cares?
She has it on loan from Twilight Sparkle.
Yep, and it's so cool. But Thanos managed to get his hands on the stones, and he plans to, and he's about to do the snap, and he does it. Wait, the stones aren't on it. Who's got the stones? Iron Man has the stones. And he said, and Thanos previously had said, "I am inevitable," and Tony Stark says, "I am Iron Man," and snaps his fingers. And this disintegrates his army, his Black Order, his ships, and even Thanos himself. He's gone. Payback's a bitch, you purple goober. And sadly, however, we mentioned earlier that using the stones has a big toll, and Tony Stark just isn't strong enough. And with his friends, his allies, his Spider-Man, and his wife by his side, Tony Stark dies. And then I am cry. Yeah, it's fucking heartbreaking.
Because I had assumed that Cap was going to be the one to go.
Yeah, I thought that myself. I always thought like it would be Steve Rogers who sacrifices himself and Tony Stark will go on. But no, it's Tony Stark. And you know, you said earlier that they didn't spend a lot of time mourning. They do now. They do fucking now. We see like people going back and reuniting with all of their loved ones and everyone that disappeared from the snap. But before that, they have a little funeral for Iron Man, but not for Black Widow or Vision. And what they do is they set on next to the country house where he and Pepper and his daughter lived. They set forth a little old arc reactor chess piece that Pepper had from the very first movie with the inscription, proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
Because he was the heart of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
He was, and oh god, it's.
I'm sorry. I'm getting a bit emotional.
I'm getting emotional. Jesus Christ!
I haven't got any tissues.
Me neither. It's. I mean, they take their time with it, and we see all of his friends and his family. We see Happy Hogan. Jon Favreau came back for Happy Hogan, and he has a little moment with his daughter. Saying his daughter wants some cheeseburgers. It's a callback to when Tony Stark came back from Afghanistan. He wanted a cheeseburger, and it's oh god, and it feels earned. It's so earned. In any other movie, this was like the second movie, or even like the very first Avengers movie, it would feel overplayed and it would feel very manipulative. Not now. Now it feels so earned because it's the end of a fucking era, and it's so sad. Meanwhile, Thor goes to Valkyrie and said, "Hey, I've decided to bum off for a bit now, and do you want to be a new king of Asgard?" Valkyrie's like, yes, please. I will definitely be queen of New Asgard. And so he goes to join Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if he's going to be in the new movie. I would certainly like that. And so they decide to that Steve Rogers, Captain America, is going to return the stones back to their original places in time. And so he does so, and he disappears with a flash. And they say, okay, in 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, he should be back. Where is he? He's not there. Where's he gone? And then they look over and they see a man sitting on a bench in the distance. And they walk, and not Winter Soldier anymore, Bucky and Falcon walk over to him. And I could see this coming a mile away, but it still didn't prepare me. It's old Steve Rogers.
Where's my violin?
Oh, God. And Samus is just like, oh, you crafty old bastard. This is what you did. And at first I thought, is that Clint Eastwood? Dear God. BTW, I'd be fine with Clint Eastwood playing old Captain America. That would be fine with that. But no, it's Chris Evans aged up, as it were, and it's actually pretty damn convincing. And it's just like, so yeah, I put the stones back, and then I decided to hang around a little bit. And you see, he has a wedding ring on, and Sam Wilson is just like, "You gonna tell us who?" And she's like, "Nah, I don't think I am." And he hands his shield over to Sam Wilson, because Sam Wilson has become Captain America at some point in the comics. Also, so did Bucky at one point.
So there's a potential that both of them could share the role or throw it around.
Yeah, either way, if he handed the shield over to either one of them, it would have worked. And it's a very touching moment. And we end Avengers Endgame and the Infinity Saga with a flashback to Steve Rogers dancing in his living room with the love of his life, Peggy Carter. And then we get the best credits ever with a whole list of everyone who's in this movie. Everyone topping it off with a big sort of legacy thing with some extra special credits for the original Avengers, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and, of course, Iron Man. And then we wait for the credits. We see the credits scroll by. And all we get for a final end credit is just a faint ring of a hammer on an anvil. Just like we heard in the very first movie. And that is Avengers Endgame. I mean, there's a ton of characters we didn't mention who managed to return. Like, you could just go up online and look it up, or you could just like watch the fucking movie. But there's so many cameos and characters, and it's oh god,
glorious.
It's glorious. Yeah, it's fucking glorious.
I could nitpick about certain things in this movie, but they're minor at best, because what we are presented with is a love letter and a culmination of all these past 11 years, all 22 movies, correct? What we have here is a fantastic way to end this cycle of this fantastic cinematic experience.
Yeah, and it's so satisfying. Yeah, there are nitpicks, but you know what? No movie is perfect, and that's okay. Because if it was perfect, it would be boring. And oh god, it's starting a new cycle, a potential for a new saga in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm slightly worried about what they're going to do next. I know there are sequels en route, and they've got like Marvel's Eternals set up, and maybe even, who knows, X-Men and or Fantastic Four.
Of course, to bring forth Doctor Doom and Galactus, they have to be next.
Possibly, yeah. But you know what? I don't think it matters, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as cool as it was to have this big overarching story, it was never about that. It was always about the characters that we met along the way. We're always going to feel much more attached to Hulk and Black Panther and Rocket Raccoon and Hawkeye and even Thanos than we are the stories of the Infinity Stone. We're going to miss the characters we've lost, and we're going to look forward to the characters we're going to get, and the characters that we get to continue see swinging, shooting, flying, and fighting their way through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And
it's all thanks to Mr. Kevin Feige.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue he's the architect of this whole thing. Obviously, it's a team effort. It really is. It's a lot of people up at Marvel Studios, even, I must say, begrudgingly, possibly at Disney. Not to mention the phenomenal cast, every single director that's ever worked on it, and even, to a small degree, Edgar Wright. Let's not forget him.
Also, three very important people that we cannot forget. Steve Ditko, Jack Kirby, and Stan Lee.
Stan Lee gets a cameo in this movie. Quite a few people get cameos, but he gets a cameo as like a a freaky beatnik sort of guy driving past the Shield base in the 1970s. And you know what? If this is the last cameo we ever get with Stan Lee, I think he'd be glad with it. It's funny, it's goofy, and that's what he was like. He was, and so, and it's like a younger Stan Lee as well, as he appeared in the 1970s. So
that mustache,
with that mustache. So, yeah, we have to thank that, because, I mean, the greatest stories are the ones that change and develop are in the hands of other people. And they're the ones that last. Because imagine if the only people ever working on Spider-Man was Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. No, they passed it off to other people. Other writers and other artists who in turn passed it off to other writers and other artists. Going on and on and on and on and on. And some are great, like Dan Slott or John Romita Jr. And some are less good, like someone else whose name I can't probably think of. But that's okay, because it's all part of this big tapestry, this big web of this poetic Edda of a story. This is our modern mythology. This is our Hercules, our Remus and Romulus, our... You know, and
our legends,
and the Marvel Cinematic Universe is mainly this. It's just this latest example of this, and there will be other Marvel movies, and some will be great, and some might not be as good. You know what? But it's bound to happen, and there will become a point where the Marvel Cinematic Universe will end. Either they'll plan an ending, or it will just disintegrate under the weight of its own magnificence, or possibly even mediocrity. We may one day miss the days when the Marvel movies were good, but you know what? It's okay, because that means at some point they were good, and they took this idea of silly little superheroes and silly little tights, and they made something that people connected with on an emotional level. We care about these characters just as much as we care about any other character. And there are the naysayers, the people who say they don't like it. And, well, that's fine. You don't have to like it. But all I know is when I watch these movies, when I go to the cinema or I get the DVDs, I feel the same way as I did when I was a kid and I was reading the comics based on these characters for the very first time. I felt very similar to watching this movie as I did when I first read Secret Wars. And it keeps us young, and it keeps our imaginations going, and it makes us remember how we felt back then and how we wanted to feel when we grew up.
Beautifully said.
Yeah, and also I think the fucking 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, based on like 380 reviews. I think that pretty much says it all. It broke several box office records. It's the third highest grossing film currently at time of recording of 2019. It's absolutely phenomenal, and it's sad to see many of these characters go. But then again, we may see some of these characters again. Black Widow is gone, but we're getting an origin story apparently with her. This filming is due to commence in a couple of months from now this year. So this isn't maybe the last we see of the characters, but we know that this is where some of their stories ends. But that's okay, because every story ends. And what's important is that you enjoy the ride. And I've enjoyed this ride so much from the minute I saw in 2008 Iron Man. We were in school at that time. Think about that. We weren't even in university yet. We were in secondary school.
Actually, I graduated in 2007, so I was in my first year of college.
So I was counting sixth form as well.
Oh, I didn't have sixth form.
I see. I did. So for those of you outside the UK, sixth form is sort of like it's like school but not. It's like secondary school but not. It's sort of an in between. Well, it's extra 2 years for me.
Okay.
2008, I just started sixth form, and this whole world had just opened up to me, and this idea of, wait, they signed a 9-picture deal? They're going to be, like, connecting these movies? Oh, God. And we didn't really know that was going to happen until Incredible Hulk came out, and we got that iconic end credit scene first of many with Iron Man. It's like, oh shit, there's actually, like, we got it kind of hinted at it before with Nick Fury. I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative, but we didn't really know for certain until the Incredible Hulk, and it just kept going and going and going, at highs and one or two lows. But it's become, and it made superhero movies cool again. And I don't want to do the hipster thing like we liked it before it was cool, but this seemed, Marvel Cinematic Universe has seen me through school and university, and leaving university, moving to Edinburgh, living and working in Edinburgh, and becoming part of a place to hang your cape, and starting Podcapers. It's always been there. And I think on some level, even if it does end, it always will be.
Hey, everybody from the internet. I've got less than 2 minutes to try and review Avengers Endgame with my buddy Jeremy.
Hi, I'm Jeremy.
From Cape Swoosh Productions and the Cape Swoosh Podcast. So, ready? 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Go watch the movie.
Yeah, that's about it. There is no such thing as a spoiler-free review for this, so see the movie, and after you see the movie, be sure to check out the Ginger Geek Podcast at www.gingergeekblogs.com, as well as the Cape Swoosh Podcast,
which is at capeswooshproductions.com or Facebook at Cape Swoosh.
You can find all of these things on various podcasting apps, I guess. Bye.
That's the word. Even shorter. 44 seconds.
Fuck yes. You want under 2 minutes? I'll give you under a minute, bitch.
Anything else you want to say?
I think you pretty much said all that needs to be said.
Yep, and we're gonna end the show. And now, before we go any further, Capers, little special announcement for you. We're doing here at A Place to Hang Your Cape a little survey for you to rank all 22 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, that is in terms of the Infinity Saga. And you get a chance to participate in that. There's a link in the show notes. All you need to do is go in there and go to the survey, and you get a chance to basically contribute to the ranking, like the official A Place to Hang Your Cape ranking of the entire Infinity Saga. This is an opportunity that cannot be passed up. Get on that, Capers. I believe in you. Is there anything else really you want to talk about, Mark, before we finish the show?
What are DC gonna do now?
Flounder and sputter like they always do. Yeah. You know what? Maybe DC, maybe they'll listen, maybe they'll look, and maybe they'll learn, and they'll go on and have their own legacy. It hasn't gone off to the great start, but if they keep trying, you know, maybe they will. The important thing is the people are going to the cinema, they're watching these movies, and they're appreciating...
Justice League. Just chop off, like, the first 3 movies in the DCEU, and maybe Justice League, and it's fine.
Yeah, just retcon that shit out, but you know what? They'll have their own legacy. That's okay, because we've got ours, and boy, is it a great legacy. So thank you, Mark, for joining us today.
Always a pleasure.
And if you enjoy the show, Capers, please tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops! And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our other super episodes, like our Infinity War review, check that out. And you can listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, or at podcapers.com. We have a Patreon. Check out the rewards. Patreon.com/AP2HYC. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe come on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AP2HYC, or email us at podcapers@AP2HYC.com. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the lovely microphone, the red and blue 3D glasses, those are mine. And thank you for listening. This has been Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. Cue the music!
If five years have gone by in Endgame, right?
Yeah.
So why is Ned still in school?
Oh, shit.